What's up, YouTube? It's Joe Catapaglia sitting on the couch making some money investing in fractional real estate online. As usual, today I'm bringing you a video about the latest Mogul listing, the Calloway. This is a 10-bedroom, 5-bathroom pad split in Mesa, Arizona. I'm going to spend a little time comparing it to the Rhodes, which is one of my most successful pad splits on Mogul. It's also in Mesa, Arizona. It looks like it's only like I think it was a 4-minute drive from this property. It's also 10 bedrooms. I think there's a lot of reasons that we should look to that versus anything else when trying to figure out, okay, does this deal make sense? But let's see. So let's just jump right into it. This property, it's under contract for $623,000. Unlike the Rhodes, this is one that is, sourced off market and is going to be fully renovated. They're going to do what they said, a gut renovation. And actually their email said, full gut renovation with the pool, dual fridges, 2 laundry sets, and high-end finishes. They also mentioned it's a corner lot, which is good for parking. It's only 0.1 miles away from groceries, walking distance. So this is what came in the email. So this is going to be built out to be a pad split. It's 2,700 square feet. The Rhodes is 2,604, so very comparable there. The Rhodes had 3 bathrooms, and this one has 5. So we're going to have more en-suites. And I want to show you on the map before I keep continuing. 2.2 miles away, right? So this is the Rhodes, and this is where this new property, the Calloway is, right? The Calloway. I've stopped even mentioning that I don't know what these things reference because I just never get it. We do get this one thing that's a little bit different here. We have a pool. If you look at the Rhodes, okay, so this is our property and it's going to have a pool. You can see it's there, but it's empty. But the Rhodes, they had actually filled in the pool in the back. I think that's something that should almost be considered because I don't know how much of a premium we're getting for the pool as far as rentals go. For this, like for short-term rentals, I love having a pool. For pad splits, whenever I've talked to them, they just say, it's not really an amenity that drives membership there, right? It's not a lot of people that are getting it for that. And it's just going to be an added expense, right? I mean, you have to pay someone to maintain the pool. This is one of the weirdest floor plans that we've seen. This bedroom number 3 looks ridiculously small. Or these bedrooms are gigantic. I'm not sure. Maybe what's actually happening is these bedrooms are going to be in the garage, like spread all the way to the garage. I don't know, but this one really threw me because, like, if you look at this bedroom, it's smaller than this bathroom, right? Or it's at least narrower than this bathroom. So it's really hard to understand it'd be nice if we had a scale for these, right? If, when they have these pictures, if it told us what the scale was. But one thing that they have done again is give us these pictures of, general idea about what these finishes are going to look like. And I appreciate that because that's one of the things I had asked for in the past, and we're getting that now. And compare that to, this is the Rhodes when it was purchased. And, it looks like levels of finishes. It looks pretty similar, right? It looks like they're trying to do something similar to what we're doing here. One of the things I'm always concerned with is valuation. So let's jump into that. Zillow thinks it's only worth $458,000. I did notice there's a little bit of a square footage discrepancy. Zillow thinks it's only 2,528, where we're saying it's 2,785. Does that mean there's a garage conversion or some other space being added? I don't know because they didn't tell us, right? And this actually says, over 2,700 square feet. So I don't know what's going on there. It is, it's a huge difference in value there. I'm not even going to pull up their comps this time. The main reason is I think that, if I were going to buy this one, it's definitely something that you should spend the time doing. As I've mentioned lots of times, I'm trying to go through these a little bit quicker, just give the insights that I have that might be a little bit different from every other property. Obviously, if you're looking for these deals for yourself, you want to do a little more due diligence than just watch my videos, right? I'm trying to give you ideas about what I'm looking at, the things I'm doing. Before I forget, please like and subscribe. In the description of this video, I have links to all the places where I'm currently investing in fractional real estate online. Please do your own due diligence on any of those links on the platforms, and also any of the properties that you see me talk about on here. Also in the description of this video, I have a link to the Discord channel I set up. There's around 270 of us in there, just talking about fractional real estate investing across a whole bunch of different platforms. It's completely free to join. Please feel free to just click on that link and join. There is no cost. It's not a sales funnel. I will not DM you trying to sell you anything. So I heard again today that somebody is DMing people and trying to basically just scam them, pretending to be me and trying to sell some sort of service. Please report that person. All right, so back to this. So this is way off from what we're paying, right? We're paying $635, so almost another $200,000. But we're getting 10 bedrooms, 5 bathrooms. So they're adding 2 bathrooms. They're building out 7 additional bedrooms. We have this wonky floor plan, so I don't really know if this is exactly what we're doing, but it is, it really just seems like maybe they're turning this into bedrooms. It seems so unlikely that you just have these tiny, skinny bedrooms here. And then we have like this space here that doesn't even have a label, right? Is that the closet for this? Because this one says storage. And also, how do you get to this bedroom? Is this a hallway to get to that bedroom? That's kind of weird. Is this just outside bedroom? So this floor plan is terrible. It is, or what we're going to do is it doesn't. I don't think this is very indicative of what the end product is going to be. Hopefully, because it's not even clear. Like, okay, how would you get to? I guess this must be a hallway to get to here. But how are you even getting there? That's not clear at all. And then how do you get to this bedroom unless you're going through the bathroom, right? We just have we have some sort of scale problem going on, and it's not. This is it's one of the things I almost wish, if they're gonna do such a poor job on these, like I don't know that I want it. Like it is okay. What are we actually getting out of this? The fact that there's 10 bedrooms and 5 bathrooms. Do we even see 5 bathrooms? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so we do. But anyway, it is. I don't know. I make floor plans for deals that I'm either planning to buy and renovate, or buy and or when I buy lots to build. And I just me using free software can put together something better than this. So I'm just not sure. I don't know why they struggle so much with making accurate floor plans that make sense and really are clear what they're doing. But so I don't know. That's something that maybe we should complain about on the next webinar. That's one of the things. Make sure you sign up for that webinar. I think it's always the last Thursday of the month. All right, but so anyway, yeah. Are we actually creating, almost or $175,000 in value? The difference between this estimate and that, that seems to be the delta that we're seeing over and over again, right? And then, Realtor says 410, Redfin says 446. What do they think? But again, they both think 200 square feet smaller. 200, yeah, 250 or 200 square feet smaller. Yeah, about 250. So I'm not really sure. That leads me to believe there's either a garage conversion or maybe they're enclosing some space. But that's not really clear from the description that we're getting. And that's one of the things I have pretty routinely with Mogul had a problem when there's doing these renovations understanding, how we get to the before and after of the square footage. Whenever they have a square footage discrepancy, it's been unclear how we're getting to the new square footage. And that's something I think that in the last listing, they were actually good about it. They said, hey, this is different because we have this below grade space. It would be good if every time they really just broke it out, right? Like this space is X number of square feet. We're adding it here. But maybe I'm asking for too much, because it does seem like these things sell out without all the info that I want, right? But it makes me nervous when people are buying stuff and not fully understanding what they're buying. Okay, let's get some of the easy stuff out of the way first. This is in the Shaded X flood zone. I've talked quite a bit about that. Probably, I think the first time was in the video for the Hugo, which was a Dallas STR. But I've bought a few of these now, and I mean, if you look in Mesa, like you're basically going to be in that floodplain in most of this market. So it's just something that, I trust that Mogul is getting the proper insurance for that they're going to be able to handle the insurance claims if that comes up. It's not going to be me doing it. So it's one of the reasons why I've been willing to buy in the Shaded X floodplain, which it is just like a slightly higher chance of flooding. It's not like these, the AH or the AE or any of those. And that, because when I'm buying whole properties in real life, I would never buy in a flood zone at all, because I don't want to deal with the insurance companies if something happens. I also think it affects resale. Now, in a market like this, I don't necessarily think it's going to affect resale, because everything in this area is in this Shaded X. But it is certainly, some additional risk of that needs to be insured against, and understand that there could be some effort going into dealing with that sometime in the future. But again, for fractional real estate, it's not me doing it, and which is why I'm a little more comfortable buying these. All right, the spot crime map looked pretty rough, right? We've got a lot of gunshots. Most of these, when you click on them, they just say gunshots reported. It's not like this person was shot. I think that's, am I splitting hairs? I don't know. I think it's kind of important to understand, like, my guess is, because of how many there are, that this is an area where that is an issue. We're only, though, this is where the roads is, this is where we are. I think if we put the roads map in, or address in, it ends up being like a somewhat similar looking. I remember this one being a little worrisome as well. Oh, okay. Well, what are we doing here? We're getting there. I wanted to compare these. Okay, yeah, okay. This one, though, we don't have any gunshots right here, but it is. Oh my goodness, this site has so many pop-ups. But you see, you have tons of assaults and graffiti, and it's a similar density of issues. So, also pulled up Neighborhood Scout, and they're both. So let's see. It is. I think this is where the roads is, and then we're in one of these two areas. I don't remember. I'd have to zoom in. I actually think it's this area. It was, below University. So I think that's this one here, right? Because this is University Ave. These maps are never easy to figure that out. Adobe. But anyway, they're very similar as far as the shading, right? It's either the same level of danger or slightly less. So I think that's important, because one of the things when we're talking about valuation, I know I'm jumping around here, is we paid $600,000, right? $600,000. I'm on the wrong roads tab. We paid $600,000 for the roads. Yeah, right here. And that was a little over a year ago. And it's a little bit smaller than ours. And so now we're talking about, okay, another 180 square feet. Is that right? Yeah, about 180 extra square feet, 181 extra square feet. 2 extra bathrooms, right? Because the roads is only 3 bathrooms. Brand new renovation. The road was actually an operating Padsplit at the time, so I think that is a benefit. But I think, okay, we're paying a little bit more, housing prices in this market have actually gone down a tiny bit over the last year, but we have seen that we've had a very difficult time finding the same sort of pad split deals that we were finding a year ago. I don't know why that is, right? Because almost all across the country, prices have still moved down. Most of the markets that we've looked at, the prices have continued to move down, but we've been paying more for the pad splits. I don't know what's happened there, or for the properties in general. And so, $23,000 more than we paid for the roads on something that seems like it's going to be a very comparable property, especially, adding a pool. Now for us, does that really create a lot of value? I don't know, but I think that makes a lot of sense. So I'm okay with the valuation here. I mean, I think, I thought we were overpaying for the roads at the time. But in retrospect, it's been one of my top performing deals. And so, yeah, when we go to sell it, is it going to, it's only if another pad split investor is going to be the one that buys it. But, that's the problem that we have with these all the time, right? So I think you just have to believe in that model if you're going to want to buy most of these, right? Very few of them have made sense just from a dollars per square foot as a residential property. And I've sort of accepted that with ones that I want to buy. But I do still check the valuation because I don't want to be so far off. I want to understand, that we are at least somewhat close, right? And I think, typically, we do have the appraisal contingencies, but in addition to that, whenever you look at their comps, although there's often, and I didn't map these ones this time, they're often, pretty spread out. But what I've noticed lately is they're usually just picking fully renovated properties because we're buying fully renovated properties. And I think that seems pretty fair. The real question, that I was curious about is, when you see is the actual performance of the roads, right? Because the roads, when they listed it, they said, okay, $76,800 in top line revenue was their projection. This property, it seems like it should be, virtually identical. I keep pulling up the wrong tabs. But, and they're saying 84,000, which is higher. This is roughly, this is exactly $7,000 per month in top line revenue that they're projecting. So what I did is went into my portfolio and looked at the roads and tried to see, okay, well, how many months are we over 7,000? Well, the first month of operation, it was less. But then February over 7,000, March over 7,000, April over 7,000, May over 7,000, June just below, July over, August over, September over, October over 8,000. November, it's almost a full 1,000 short, but you average those and we're good. And then December was a fantastic month, right? 10,000 and then 7,000 and then 7,000 again. So, again, we're 2 miles away from this property. 4-minute drive. It just, they seem, they have the crime maps seem somewhat similar, although, we did see more gunshots here and just more assaults here. The spot crime is always just taking a small picture in time, and on the neighborhood scout, it looks very similar. So I think it's really safe to assume that we should be able to do something similar to what the Roads is doing with this property. I think that's the idea behind buying this property so close to there. Now, we do run into what I've talked about before. Are we going to start cannibalizing our own properties? Is someone going to move out of the Roads because they want to live here and have a pool, right? And if it's similarly priced, is that going to, over time, are those moves going to cause us some problems? I don't know. I did want to point out a couple of things on the map. Okay, so one, it is a corner lot. You can see how big of a corner lot it is too. So with street parking, parking is one of the things I always am concerned about. And it looks like we have room for a couple of cars in the driveway, but a ton of cars on the street here. I mean, I think if you just look at the size of that, you could probably put 5 or 6 along this, road here. And then I don't think you can park back here. This is like a little alley, but there's clearly enough land if you needed to add some additional parking, which it doesn't. It seems like this market, is a public transit heavy market as far as for pad splits. This is 0.1 miles away, and so this was set as Google says it's a 3-minute walk. So like the physical characteristics that we have there, I think are really good. And then you do have like a lot of different little, commercial spaces nearby, which I think are often good because a lot of times those are the types of places where people that stay in pad splits will work. Not always, but that's more. I think I've mentioned this before, but I have a couple different clients who've been pad split investors for a while. And one of them, he always just wanted to be by these retail centers because that just tended to be what he thought, a lot of them wanted to be walking distance to wherever they worked. Maybe that's because it was here in San Antonio and we don't have a great bus system. Our public transit is just somewhat lacking. But I think in general, it's just a good thing to have that stuff nearby, but also to just being able to walk to the bus so close, but also having good parking. So I liked that aspect of this. And let's see. So I talked about, the top line revenue. And so what does that get us, right? One of the things that was strange to me, so the roads has been like 11, 12, 11, like my top line revenue or my annual yield has been 10, 11, 12% most of the time, even one of the 13s. And so I was trying to figure out, well, why are we projecting so much lower, right? 12% average, but 8% in the first year, right? 8.1 or 8.2. Why are we projecting so much lower if we only are paying a little bit more for the property and we have more en-suites and we've got the pool? And so I think that might be one of the things. So one, I think this 84,000 top line revenue, maybe that makes sense because it's going to take a while to ramp up occupancy wise. But once it is full, it does seem like because you have more en-suites, the average on that I just showed you on the roads is actually over 7,000, right? I didn't go and add it up, but you can see just by eyeballing it, that it's, it starts with a 7, but on average, I think, you're probably at 7,500 or something, right? And what would that be? 7,500 times 12. That would get you to 90,000, and they're not projecting a top line revenue of 90,000 until year 4. So one, it does seem like they're trying to be pretty conservative here. If the roads is as close of a comp for pad splits as it looks to be for me. I mean, one thing that I don't know because I'm not in this area is there just so much more demand to live over here than there is over here, right? Like, is that 4 minutes difference going to be a big deal, or 2.2 miles? Is that a really big deal? My guess is no, but of course I don't know. Like, I don't know this market at all. Anybody that's familiar with this market, I'd love to hear about it, right? Like if you have some sense of like what the differences are, like do you want to be by Scoot and Boots Dance Hall? Like, is that a big driver? My guess is no, but I just saw that and thought it's kind of funny. But then the other big difference is we see $13,000 in miscellaneous costs where they projected only 4,800. My guess is a big chunk of this is going to be we're actually paying less for property management than there too. But my guess is this miscellaneous cost is a big chunk of that is the maintaining the pool. And so even though I think the top line revenue might be very similar to the roads, one, we're paying a little bit more for the property, and then we have this extra drag of the expense of the pool that maybe we're not getting enough offsetting additional revenue for it. And then what else do we have? So that's one of the things. I'd love to see what else goes into this miscellaneous costs. I mean, it should be, this is where some of the maintenance is going to be and turnover expense, but also I would expect utilities, right? Because we're paying the utilities for these properties. it'd be nice to have a little bit more visibility there, because understanding why, this one is going to be a 2% less on average than the roads is for me, or more than 2%. It's kind of hard to get there, right? I mean, I guess that miscellaneous expense is a big part of it. But when we look at this, what's our actual, and then when we do this, then we get OPEX instead. But like if you look here, these are all pretty high. So, I mean, actually, if you add those up, that's even higher than I would think, because on average, we're at least $1,500 average. I don't know. So it's tough to understand why this wouldn't do at least as well. And so partially I think that it might be, and I've thought this all along, that Mogul is being somewhat conservative in their their yield estimates. Now, obviously, for their short-term rentals, it turned out they were way off on the the wrong way. Like those of a whole bunch of the short-term rentals are doing horribly, right? And so that's and even some of those looked like they were conservative estimates to me using the third-party tools that I have access to. So it's a good illustration of why they should be being conservative, but it seems like for the pad splits they really have been. I have had a couple that have underperformed, but for the most part they are doing. They're putting out numbers that are very similar to, if not over, the numbers that I've seen that were projected. And I guess one of the things moguls realize is they can say 8% year one, 12% average yield, and people are still just snapping them up left and right. So why overpromise if those numbers are getting people to buy them? Why not just continue to be conservative? Which is what it looks like is happening here. Now, again, all I have to base that off of is this one other property that I own in this market. There is another Mesa, Arizona pad split, but I don't own any of it, I don't think. Let me see if I might have bought a piece of one. Oh, it's a Phoenix, Arizona pad split I bought a piece of, but this one it's not even running yet. So, and then the Gilmore is a Tempe, Arizona pad split. How's that one doing for me? This one, it started off pretty strong, but then this year has been doing not nearly as well. So, what were they projecting on this one initially? Oh, can't we just... Is it on the overview? Yeah, there we go. View the property. And let's see. Analysis tab. This is fun. I should have planned this ahead of time, but I didn't. You can tell I don't really have a script for these. So they were projecting, I can all the way back up here. I just kind of have a rough idea what I'm going to talk about. Yeah, they were projecting 11.2% on this one. And so this year, what did I just say? Oh, where'd that go? I guess they were doing that in these. Wait, is this one? No, that's the roads again. Now back to the Gilmore. I guess we hit that in November. October, we just had the benefit of having no debt service. But then December we didn't hit it, and then January and February we've done significantly worse. And why are they saying that is? Had one room turn mid-month and is set for March rents to exceed February's. What do they say then? Had one room turnover in January, move in late December, which impacted rents received. Yeah, so I mean, this one is actually underperforming that 11 quite a bit. So I mean, maybe they just decided like, hey, let's just say 8. That seems pretty safe. If it turns out that it's just as good as the roads, you're gonna, hopefully do a little better. Although maybe not with those added miscellaneous expenses. Maybe that's what's dragging it down as well. I don't know. A lot of this is speculation on my part because we don't have a lot of visibility into, okay, what are those miscellaneous expenses? And then, I do only have the one property, right, that I have and I've owned that one. That's the second longest property that I've owned on Mogul. And like I said, it's been a good performer. So it's why when I see something that's basically the same property, pretty excited about it. I don't think I'm actually going to buy this one because I just haven't been putting any new money to work on Mogul. Well, I mean, I have those. I still have, I think, 3 that I haven't received a dividend on yet. And these are all ones, or 2 of the 3 are ones where it is this sort of the same sort of deal where they're buying a property that's being renovated. And I just really want to see how those work out before I keep buying a bunch of these. I think if I didn't already have some, some exposure to these markets, like, Mesa, Tempe, Phoenix, like all same general market. And then I even have, I think I have a short-term rental in Gilbert. I don't know if that, I'm actually honestly not sure if that's close or not. I think it's the same general market, but I could just be mistaken. Anyway, so this would be one that I'd pick up if I didn't already have that exposure and also didn't have that question of how are they going to be able to do with these ones that they're buying and ramping up from scratch. I just want to see how the ones that I have are doing already. But overall, I mean, it looks pretty promising to me. If you're going to buy this one, please let me know. Jump in the comments or in the Discord, or feel free to DM me. I'm always curious, what makes people decide to pick these or not. And if you saw some other risks, please do share those in the Discord or in the comments. Some things that I glossed over or didn't cover at all, or because obviously there's plenty of things that I miss. I'm going to have some videos coming up about some other losses that I've had in fractional real estate. These deals, they're not all perfect, right? And it is, that's why I think it's important that we all do our own due diligence. We all dig into these properties. We share what we find. And then also, too, we pressure platforms to just give us better and better deals if there are things that they're, slacking on. Anyway, that's all I've got for today. Until next time, I'm just going to keep making mistakes so that you don't have to.